Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 19 of the Empowered Psychology podcast. My name is Cristela, and I am the owner and the founder of Empowered Psychology, which is an educational platform and community that gives a voice to those with visible and invisible illnesses with the goal of empowering others to overcome adversity and create their dream lives. So today I'm super excited because another purpose of Empowered Psychology is to combine mental health and the arts. And as I have mentioned in other podcast episodes, I am a dancer, and dance is the art form I feel like God has chosen for me, or He has guided me to. And one of the amazing people that I have had in my training journey is Miss Meoke Mcbride, who is just amazing. So Miss Meoka is literally the embodiment of a woman who makes zero excuses. Zero excuses, and I'm really excited to have her here today because it is Mother's Day this weekend, but this weekend is a really important weekend. And she has two boys, and she has never made an excuse for herself. She was able to become a professional dancer and have an amazing career with Urban Souls. And then also you were on tour with H-Town, right? Yes. Oh my gosh. When I saw that, I was like, what?
Me too.
Oh my gosh. And then you were there with Genuine. I was like, what? She was literally living her best life, okay? So she's a professional dancer trained in all art forms. Ballet, modern, hip-hop, heels, what else? Latin, jazz, everything. Yes. She does it all. She's a business woman. I am here at her studios, One Sound Vibe Studios here in Houston, Texas, and all I can say is wow. I mean, I can't really go into detail. You just have to see it for yourself. But there's a dance studio, there's a barber shop, there's a ton of different. If you want to be an artist and film music videos, there's so many rooms where you can do that here too. Podcast spaces, study spaces, tech spaces. I mean, I was going through the rooms. I was like, okay, nice. Right. But I was like, more. Like, oh my gosh, what else is here? Hotel.
Look at that on the list.
I mean, she even has a Pilates studio. So on top of being a professional dancer, she is an artistic athlete. She's also really into fitness, specifically Pilates, and she is not only a big part of the Houston dance community, but she has created her own community here in Houston through her company, Heels Out Movement, which is, I mean, come on. Do I have to say anything? At this point, it's transcending Houston. She's expanded to Dallas and Atlanta, and then where else? I know you're going
Dallas,
somewhere
Atlanta,
else.
We do New Orleans. Yes. We've done a sold out class in Montego Bay, Jamaica. I feel like I'm forgetting it somewhere, but I think that's all that comes: Dallas, Atlanta, New Orleans, and Montego Bay, Jamaica.
And I know you're going to Austin soon, right?
I am trying to get to Austin. I promise. Okay. I'm coming, Austin.
Okay, Austin. Y'all know that is. I lived there for 3 years. Y'all have to get it together. They need someone like you.
I know.
So yes, guys, welcome Miss Meoka.
Hey everybody.
I am so excited to have her here, and thank you for being here.
Of course.
Thank you for always being here in my journey, being a role model. It happens when you want to make excuses. I'm like, you know what? Miss Meoka never made an excuse. She had 2 boys, and she was still able to do it all. And so I just want to empower everyone through her story today, especially the mothers out there. Yes. You know, as a mom, sometimes you get overwhelmed and you're like, oh, well, maybe I should just, not go after my dreams. But, I mean, she has done that, and she has set an amazing example for her boys. They have grown up in the studio, right?
They have. They did.
Yes, they have grown up in the studio, and now they get to continue watching her create her dream life. So let's get started. So where are you from, and how did you start dancing?
I'm from a small, I don't say town, I consider it a city. I'm from a small city. It's Bryan, Texas, or you may know it as Bryan College Station. And when people don't know where Bryan is, I was like, oh, do you know where Texas A&M is? Texas A&M University. It's right there. They're like sister cities. So, and then how did I start dancing? So when I was younger, my mom saw me kind of dancing around in the living room. And that's when she noticed that I liked to dance. So my mom actually started a praise dance team at our church. And she was like the director of the praise dance team, like my first dance teacher, director, coordinator. She wasn't a dancer, like trained dancer, but that was my first experience. And it gave me the opportunity to perform. I was super shy when I was young, but when I was dancing, I was not shy. And I think she just saw something in me. I think I was like 9 years old, and she saw something in me, and she just thankfully took the initiative to grow it in the best way she could. She couldn't afford for me to go like to dance schools or anything like that. I've never been to dance studios when I was younger or anything like that. And so that's what she did. And the best thing that did for me was just gave me the opportunity to perform.
Now that I know that information, it makes sense why you're such an amazing dancer, because you started with feeling.
I started with feeling, passion, and
exactly.
Just, yeah.
Through praise dance.
And dancing in front of church people, like if you don't bring it, you're not gonna usher the spirit. So,
okay.
So I learned right on that if you wanted to have people feel something, you had to elicit that feeling out of them by how well you performed. And I think that even now, I never really thought about it till just now, but that's where I learned that from. That's where I learned that from.
So when did you realize dance was going to be your career?
I just loved it so much. I will say I danced, praise dancing. And then when I got to high school, I did gymnastics my 9th grade year. I was not a gymnast. I just wanted to do it. But doing that's when I learned how to do my splits. I mean, Coach Fletcher, shout out to you. He was a no-nonsense coach. I mean, we had to sit in our splits for like every class, every time, like 60 seconds. And we weren't allowed to like bend our back legs. So you have to just hold yourself up, even if you weren't able to do your split. I was able to do splits. I learned like basic dance technique, because you do basic dance technique in gymnastics. And then after that, I joined our drill team. Nice. And I was the first African-American drill teams in the 30 years history of that school, Bryan High School. And I didn't think of it as a career at that time. I went to college, had no intention of majoring in dance. I don't even think I knew that was an option. But my ex-husband at the time encouraged me to move forward and go for it. Thank God you didn't have to audition at Sam Houston State University. When I went, you did not have to audition to be in the dance program. I was able to slide right in. Right when you get into that program, you get put in a ballet class. I had never done ballet before. I remember my first class, like at the bar, like doing plies and like looking around trying to see. I had no idea what I was doing. I know they knew I didn't know what I was doing, but it wasn't until that moment where I became a dance major, because I loved it and I really didn't know what else I wanted to do or what else I was good at. So I was like, well, I love dance. I'm good at it. Then I'm going to do dance.
So it seems like everyone saw your gift, but it took a while for you to see it.
It took a while for me to see it. I didn't think I was going to be a career like dance. Like, no.
Wow.
I didn't even know what I was going to do, honestly.
Wow. And I want to add to this, a lot of people want to dance, but they're like, oh, I didn't start at 2 years old. Well, guys, when I tell you she's a beast, I mean, I remember when I was training with you and people were asking me, well, who are you taking privates with? I was like, oh, Miss Meoka. I'm like, oh, she's a beast. She does it all. Okay, so it doesn't matter when you start. All you need is passion.
Yes.
And that's it. Mm-hmm. So that is amazing. Thank you. You went to Sam Houston State. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure once you got there and you started getting training, you saw, okay, this is way different. And I feel like people don't realize that dance is a sport. In my opinion, it is like the ultimate form of athleticism.
Even Kobe Bryant said that. He said how he thought that dancing was harder than just regular sports, just because of the athleticism and also the flexibility and the coordination involved in it.
Yes, and you have to be very mentally smart.
Yeah, you do.
Yes,
you do.
To retain all that choreography and detail. How was your journey like training to become a professional dancer? And then also, what does it take to become a professional dancer?
So when I was at Sam Houston, I'm so thankful for the program there and the instructors there. My instructors, shout out to Melissa Wynn, Jennifer Pontius. Those were the main ones that I worked with there. We trained about 4 times out of the week. We always had to take modern and ballet. When you're training that much, you're going to get better. I wish I had the mindset I have now, but I feel like the mindset I have now doesn't come until you get a little older. But I just wish I would have done more and taken more advantage of it, like my self-discipline wise. And I see that with my oldest son, because he does football and he's super disciplined, like intuitively. But that training really, really helped. When I graduated from Sam Houston, I didn't know what I was going to do. I knew I wanted to dance, but by the time I graduated, I had 2 kids and I was married. So my life as a professional dancer was absolutely going to look very different than anybody else in that program. I think at the time I was the only one. No one was having kids in college, but I was for whatever reason. And so I just knew it was going to be different. And then that's when I found out. I saw a picture of a dancer, African American dancer, and an African American male dancer, and she was like, it was a lift. She was in a lift, and like she looked so passionate. And I was like, what is that? I want to be a part of that. And I found out it was Urban Souls Dance Company.
Yes.
I had already knew I wanted to move to Houston once I graduated, and so when I did, I auditioned for the company, and I don't even know if I had to audition at the time. I started going to the classes. I was able to continue training with that company, and they knew I had kids, and shout out to Harrison Guy and Walter Hull. They were very open to that. I literally had to bring my kids to practice sometimes, and they allowed me to do that. And I feel like that's the only way, because of how that company was at the time, it's the only way I was able to pursue dance professionally. There was no other way that I could have known that I could have pursued modern dance professionally. That company took my technique from Sam Houston, and it turned me into an artist. I mean, we worked hard. We didn't have a lot of practices. We met consistently. The most professional companies, they're meeting every day like a job. When we met, we had to come with it, and we had to put it all on the floor, because we were always preparing for a show. So that experience it was a lot of training. And Harrison Guy mostly did Horton technique. Yes. Horton technique is hard. I mean, you're putting your body in positions aesthetically very quickly, and you cannot lose your balance. And so, but I loved Horton. I feel like Horton loved me, and I love Horton. We also did some Martha Graham technique, which I am a big fan of Martha Graham technique. And I just love how it made my body feel. So what it takes to be a professional dancer is you have to innately be disciplined. And discipline doesn't mean you always do it right. It means that you have to be like always. I really look up to Kobe Bryant. That's why I keep bringing him up, because Kobe Bryant had a work ethic that was not like many people in this lifetime. He just did the work. And with becoming a professional dancer, you just have to do the work. You have to do the work, because at the end of the day, if you're auditioning, you have that moment, only that moment, to share what you're capable of doing. It's not like in the big world where you can network and know somebody that might help you to get a gig. But in most cases, you just have to be good. And even if you get the gig, you have to be good. There's no way around that in this world of dance. So you got to be disciplined. You got to be good at your craft, and you got to continue to build yourself. And you got to be a good person. Nobody likes to work with a diva. Nobody likes to work with a divo. You know, they can be like, oh, they're a good dancer, but I don't like working with them. Well, then you need to be a people person. People have to like working with you because you are an humble person. So that's what it took. I hung in there as long as I could, and it was a lot of strenuous. It was strenuous on my body. I mean, fun fact: when I was dancing, I was also into fitness. But when I was preparing for a show, I would not work out at the gym, because lifting weights and dancing were counterintuitive. So I would also say that if you're dancing, work out and condition your body in a way that works for what you're doing. A lot of times, if you're rehearsing a lot, you don't even really have to work out, because you're already like exercising. Yes. But Pilates is what really connected with me in dance, and just like light cardio and stuff like that is what really what I really pulled towards.
You had amazing mentors. You found a community in dance. How important is that for aspiring professional dancers, to find the right mentors and community?
You have to, at a lot of times we always think about, oh, I'm auditioning for something, but at the same time, they're auditioning for you. And I think we're at a time and place in our life where we can, like, it goes both ways. Like, I'm here because I want this job, but also I want to make sure I want this job from you. And so when it came to Urban Souls, if I can be 100% honest, when I was at Sam Houston, a lot of the dancers didn't look like me. I look at myself now, I don't have a dancer's body like what I would put on stage if I were doing traditional classical dance like modern ballet. But when I was in college, I was tinier than this. And even me being super tiny, my body type was big. It was athletic. It was strong. My muscles were popping every time I jumped. And so when I got to Houston and found out about Urban Souls, the dancers looked like me. So not only did I want to be a part of the company, I felt like that company was a good fit for me. And that's why I decided to join it. So just finding a community that fits you. You put yourself in a place where people want you to be, and nowhere where people do not want you to be. If you're in a place and it's toxic and you're feeling depressed and it doesn't feel good, that's a big red flag. That's not a good place for you to be. It's not a good place. So find your spirit place that embodies what you're about too.
Yes, and we're blessed to be in Houston, a place with just so much. If you want to go into house, if you want to go into ballet, jazz, industry, salsa, it's an amazing place, and I'm so glad that you had such amazing mentors who were supportive. Yes. And that leads me to my next question. How did you manage your time? Honestly, I have to know this because like with 2 kids and as a professional dancer, that is, and also you were running for a long time programs in HISD. I was
a full-time teacher.
Yes. So how?
At the time when I first moved to Houston, I was married at the time to my kid's father, and there's no way I could have done it without him. My mom and my family, they were in my hometown of Bryan, and so when I would need to go to rehearsals, he would be there with the kids. Unfortunately, when we got to a point where we separated, my cousin, shout out to my cousin and husband Karen, they would babysit my boys. If I had to do a show or rehearsals, they would step in, and thankfully they had boys about the same age, so they would go over there and hang out and stuff like that. So it really took a village, because when you have kids, you just don't have flexibility. You have to be a mother. You have to take care of those kids. So if it would not have been for that, I couldn't have done it. I can't say that I was great at managing my time. I was only ambitious. And I was younger, so I think I had more energy. So I was going to work, and I was going to rehearsals maybe 2 or 3 times a week, depending on what we were doing. And I just made it happen, but I did until it didn't. And I think the straw that broke the camel's back was I probably was in my 3rd year. I can't remember if it was 3 or 5 years that I've been with the company. My son, he was very young. He had a project at school. And when your kids are young, if they have a project, it's y'all's project. Like, they not doing a project at all. And I knew he had a project, but I had been so consumed with my job and the company when I was rehearsing, I forgot. And my son, my young son, who really was not in a position to be in control of that kind of thing, had to send him to school without a project. That's when I was like, I'm done. I have to be a mother, but I don't have to be a dancer. And that's when I let it go. I had to let it go.
Wow.
It's so sad. Wow. But I was so sad. I was even more sad to send my baby child to school without his project.
Of course.
Because that was our project.
But now I see how God has blessed you. You made that sacrifice.
I did.
And he said, here you go.
Here you go. Flowers. I got something else.
Yes, exactly. Come on. We see it right there. So you left dance, and now you're full-time teaching. And going to your classes and meeting your students. Your spirit is amazing.
Thank you.
And your love for your students is amazing, because they still are your students.
Yes.
They are still your students.
I have a good handful that we still, thanks to social media, we still keep in touch.
So how does it feel as a teacher to see your students grow?
Man, it's crazy. I started teaching when I was 23, 24. So when I started teaching, I was still pretty young myself. And I was just having fun. Honestly, I got to go to work and dance and work with dancers who just really enjoyed it. And when I worked at Lamar, I just came across so many talented dancers. They had so much potential, just hadn't had the grooming. So me coming in, I was just like, I want this to be the best program in the district. And I mean, that was my goal. I was like, I wanted Lamar dance program to be the best. It was already really good. My mentor, Penny Shearhart, was amazing. But I knew I wanted to take the program and like launch it. And that's all I cared about, was like launching that program, giving these kids opportunities that they could take with them for a lifetime. I know when I was in drill team, my drill team director scheduled a trip for us to go to New York, and that changed my life. So I knew from that experience that I wanted to provide opportunities for my students. So honestly, it was just fun. It was fun, and until I got tired, it was a lot of fun just to do that. And working with those students, they were high school. So when you teach high school, you gonna run into your students. So now to see them like you, like an adult, and to see like, even though I work with you as a young adult or a teen, like just to see y'all, like when I hear your stories, I'm like, you're doing what? You're doing this. You graduated college. You got a child. You're getting married. I cannot believe it. I really can't believe it.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I'm old.
No, you're not. You're teaching, you know, and one thing that I know about you is that you really live within your purpose. You know, dance is your purpose, fitness is your purpose, business is your purpose, and you know, because of you had boys, and you know, you needed to put food on the table and stuff. You didn't really have the time to like pursue everything you wanted, right? But one day you took a leap of faith. I remember this. You put a status on Facebook. I did. You said, I remember, because I was like, what? You know? Because at the time I was training with you, and we would train there at Bel Air. And you were like, I'm no longer working at Bel Air. I took a leap of faith, and I'm just going to have faith. Yeah. And look where you are 5 years later. So what made you take the leap of faith, quit your job, and become an entrepreneur?
I was, so I had been teaching for about 10 years. Most of my career that I built and my rapport reputation was at Lamar High School. And then Lamar High School, the thing about Lamar High School, it's a great school on paper, and they have a lot of moving parts. I feel like I have fulfilled my goal as far as launching that program. And around that 10th year or so, I just got tired. I was tired. I felt like I was seeing my students more than my own kids. Or when I would get home, I didn't have enough energy. I had given so much that I didn't have much more to give to my kid. And I'm an introvert, so when my battery is gone, it's gone. I mean, it's just gone. And so Bel Air at the time, their program in their school, it was a little bit more lax than Lamar. And I felt like I could just really be a creative. But they had already built a program, and I felt like with Lamar, I got to be a big part of building that program. When I transitioned, the program was already there. The students were already there. They were pretty much running that program. And I was just almost felt like a fly on the wall, like watching their show. And I'm very much so, I'm hands-on. And when I felt like I didn't have that creativity to be hands-on, and I was exhausted. Those two together, my mental health started to decline. I was tired. The students needed way more than I can give them. And when you work in a public school, you already know that. You're not just a dance teacher. Those kids need mentorship. They need love. They need resources. They need your time. I mean, those kids wanted to be around me from the time I got to work, during my lunchtime. I never had time. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I don't think I can do this anymore. I don't think I can give these kids everything they need. They need someone here that can. I have kids and they need me. You know, I need to give these kids what they my kids. And I didn't have I didn't have a plan. I didn't have this money saved up. I didn't even really know that I was going to be resigning after that year, like when I started. But I knew I had to do it for my mental health. And I knew I needed to make a change. And I knew what I wanted my life to look like. And I said, if I stay as a teacher, I'm spending a lot of time. Will I realistically reach my wealth goals here as a teacher? The answer was no. I couldn't be a teacher and a mom and have a bomb, side hustle to meet my goals in my mind of where I wanted to be financially. That was probably the big driver to say, let me go pursue what I see myself as, in life. And I just did it.
When you resigned and you were like, okay, I got to do this now. What did you do?
I really didn't have a plan. I was already doing Heels Out. And I knew that because I was a teacher, I couldn't really put Heels out there. I don't think there's anything wrong with what we do, but when you're a school teacher, you have to be mindful. And I was like, there's going to be this one moment where a student like freeze frames like a pose that I'm in, and it's going to go viral and I'm going to lose my job. Yeah. So I knew that once I resigned that I could pursue my company Heels Out a little bit more. At the time, I was doing most of the teaching. I was the only instructor for a year. Now I have about 7 instructors on my team. I call them, shout out to my Avenger team of instructors. I have ambassadors. I have about over 35 people on my team, and that includes instructors, ambassadors, support staff, hostess, all that good stuff. And so I didn't know that it was going to turn into that, but they always say, like, where you put your energy, that's where things will grow. Wow. And I put my energy towards that. I think the scariest thing about resigning was when Friday hit and there was no check being deposited into my account. There was no check. You know, as a teacher, you're going to get that check bi-weekly. And that's when it really hit me. I was like, if I don't go out here and get it, I have no money to put food on the table. That's when it got real, and that's when it got scary, for sure. That's when it got scary. Yeah.
So please tell us about Heels Out, your company.
Heels Out, my company. It started as just a fun thing to do to celebrate my 34th birthday. I am now 39, and it wasn't Heels Out. I was just doing a heels class, and so after that first class, it was successful. I thought it was only going to be like an intimate group of me and my friends. Ended up being over 30 ladies there. Some I knew, some I didn't. Yes. The feedback I got is what drove me to do it again. But I didn't think it was going to turn into this. But that night, a good friend of mine at the time, she had said, I was like, well, I don't know. What should we call it? She was like, I don't know, #Heels Out. I took that and ran with it. It's trademark. I took it and ran with it, created a tagline for it. And it just turned into this opportunity for women to really have fun, to dance unapologetically in a judgment-free zone. Everything is beginner friendly. You don't have to be a dancer. You don't even have to be good at dancing. It's just you'll just feel good. And when I watched the videos and women would dance, as soon as they got done dancing, the biggest smile would show up on their face, or they would just laugh. And I live for that moment, just for us to be able to just have fun and to feel empowered. And that's what Heels Out does. We currently have dance parties. Those happen on Friday or Saturdays night, where women can come and have fun. We have a complimentary cocktail. Sometimes we have a DJ. We have themes like my neon dance party is July 15th. We have burlesque themes. We have 90s parties. Like whatever you think of, we do that. People celebrate their birthdays and bachelorettes, divorces, graduates, everybody. You can celebrate in our class. But I'm really excited because we're launching a few new projects. We are relaunching, actually, Heels Out Intimate. That's a class where women can come, and it's no party, but it's quieter. And they actually, we do stretches and light conditioning, so to help them improve their flexibility. And then we also give them an opportunity to talk. We guided conversations for just women, very confidential. And of course, we do dance, still beginner friendly. That's launching this year. We also, my bigger news that I share when I get this opportunity is that I do plan to franchise my company before the year is out. So you can have Heels Out wherever you are. The work is already done. You just got to throw the parties. And then my next project before this year is out is Heels Out, our podcast, where we do pretty much what you're doing here, which is beautiful, where we interview women and we talk about things that affect women or people who identify as women. So that's what's going to happen with our Heels Out podcast. I'm excited. I know it's a lot.
Wow. No, I'm just
it's a lot of work.
Proud of you because, like I said, I was there at your first class. And
you were.
From the beginning, there was just this energy, like, the spirit of dance was there. I mean, we came from all different backgrounds. Some of us were dancers, some people weren't,
some were super young, some were a little older,
exactly, but everyone wanted to be there for you.
They did,
because we loved you so much, and you created that community, and of course we all wanted to come back. And now look, like I know one of your teachers is Stormy, right?
Yes, Stormy.
I mean, that's just amazing.
We call her Miss Booked and Busy.
yes. But she is a real boss, y'all. And I've seen her. When I met her, she was the teacher, and now she has her own studio. She has her own company. She, that's one thing I want to say. a lot of people, especially now, they're comparing their journeys. Never compare your journey. God really blesses people who embrace the life they have and make the most out of it.
That's beautiful.
And you are an example.
That's the best thing
that.
I've heard all year.
Oh wow! Thank you. But I mean, you just really, I'm just seeing that with all that you've created, and I know it is just the beginning. And wow, y'all. So if you haven't checked out Heels Out, you have to. You want to get that liberation. And like I said earlier, I really want to combine mental health and the arts too with my platform. And I know that you have that vision too based on what you just told me. So to tie into the last question, how did the discipline of dance give you the tools to create your dream life?
Man, I love that question. If I were to ever have a daughter, I would absolutely put her in dance, because discipline, the discipline you have to have in dance is like no other. It is little to do with dance, although the technique is a very large part of it, but the discipline that it takes to be a good dancer, like you putting your own effort in, you putting your own time in, the things you have to do to your body to be more flexible, to be more strong, like the mindset, it's crazy. Like we're crazy a little bit.
Yeah, we are.
It makes you a different person. Like if you can get through the grunt and the grit of being a dancer outside of what people see on stage and performances, that's the same grunt and grit that you can put in any aspect of your life. Like that kind of discipline goes a very long way, and it keeps you grounded. It keeps you grounded, and that's why I say, even if it's not dance, I mean, I do believe in dance for sure, but doing something that keeps you grounded and disciplined, like you have to be accountable to it. That's what dance did for me, and I know it did that for you too, and a lot of other dancers. It gives you something to be accountable for, some people to be accountable for. It keeps you grounded. You have a beautiful community of people who love to do what you do, and that's the beauty of it. It just, if you can take that, you can put that anywhere in your life, and I feel like that's what I've done.
Yes, because I mean, dance also it just it embodies being human.
It really does.
Yes, and having to humble yourself, because
Seriously.
you can't go into I don't know why people think dance is so easy until they go to a class, until they go to
we make it look easy.
Class.
That's
exactly.
why. Like the easier we make it look, the harder it is, and the harder we had to work.
Yes, because no one can just go into a ballet class and do it perfectly. No. I don't think anyone can.
No,
I don't think anybody. So, guys, the power of dance. So, what does dance mean to you?
Dance, I think, was something that was given to me. And sometimes people say that, there's no such thing as having a gift. Or I've heard people say that before. But everyone has a gift. Everyone, even if it's not in the arts. I've met people who are just good at numbers. They're good at organizing. Dance was truly given to me. I just loved it. And without even the training, I was able to connect with it. And I'm thankful for dance, because I don't know what else I'd be doing. I really don't. Like, I wish I could. Now I know what else I'm good at, and I know that I love business, and I love that I helping people with business and stuff like that. But before I knew any of those things about myself, I knew dance. And dance, I get to do something I love and make a business out of it. So dance has literally been my life. And although I don't know if I will ever touch a stage again to perform, and I have to say, being 39, your body changes. So I never thought I would be like this size. I never thought I'd be this size. I thought I would be tiny, petite. But as your body changes, I'm going towards 40, metabolism slows down, all these things happen. I mourn dance. I mourn those opportunities to be on stage, because you remember I had to leave early because of my kids. And so now, just to be able to still do dance and create this lane for other women, I just feel like it is my life, and I'm just thankful that I was able to make dance truly, truly my life.
Yes, and she's having fun. That's another thing.
It's a lot of fun.
Like when you live within your passion and take that leap of faith, you're gonna have fun. I'm sure some parts aren't fun.
It's a lot of work.
But that fun that you have when you're in class and you're doing things like this, it makes up for all the work that you have to do. What advice would you give to an aspiring dancer entrepreneur?
I would say always stay ahead of the competition. Always stay ahead of the competition. audition, and my artistic director for Urban Souls used to always say, I audition not when the audition piece is taught. I've been auditioning you since you walked in the room. So just remember that when you're walking into a studio, when you're walking into a dance class or workshop, you're auditioning from the time you walk in the door. How you walk, how you carry yourself, are you organized? People like me and dance coordinators and stuff, they're watching everything. I want to see who you are when you're not on the floor. So keep that in mind. When you're walking into rooms and workshops and stuff, put yourself down. Stretch, look like you're focused. Like, really, if you're gonna do it, you really got to do it, because there's so many great dancers out there. So the only thing that's going to set you apart is being aware at all times what you're doing and how you're presenting yourself. That's the biggest thing I can say about that. Entrepreneur, I forgot, being an entrepreneur. Get your business together. There are steps to it. And I am here to help. So if you're watching this right now and you're like, I think I want to do this kind of business, or I want to do something, you need someone to talk to. I'm that person to talk to, because I was that person that didn't quite know everything. I've made a lot of mistakes, so you don't have to. But the thing is that when you're thinking about your business, think about your name. Make sure it's, original, so that you don't have a problem with it. Search it. Look on social media. Look on Google, and then get your business in order. You're going to get an LLC. Make sure you pay for that. In the state of Texas, is like $300. And then you want to go ahead and snatch up the social media, snatch up your domain, all of those kind of things. And then do your due diligence to research the information. My mom was an entrepreneur before it was trending. My mom had a cleaning business when I was like in middle school. Back then, there wasn't all this TikTok and YouTube. Like, she didn't even probably even use the internet, I'm sure. But you have resources. Use those resources. I had a student when I was at Bel Air, and a sophomore. She literally built a business. YouTube University. I call it YouTube University. She learned how to find a vendor. She learned how to do a business. She started a business selling bundles of hair, like successful logo, website, because she researched. So, and that's a sophomore. So anybody can do a business. Just research. The business is out there.
Yes. Prince has a quote. Use the internet. Don't let the internet use you.
Come on, somebody.
Yeah, it's like there's no excuse now.
Seriously. And
you can do anything. It just takes action. Yes. Which is something she has done, and we're seeing the fruits of her labor. So last and final question. What does the power of dance mean to you? Because dance is powerful.
It is powerful. Dance has the power. It's therapeutic. It's 100% therapeutic. I can be having the worst day ever, even sometimes before I'm getting ready to host a dance party. Up until I walk on the stage to teach, I could feel like 100% horrible. Like, I'm never doing this again. I don't want to do this. I'm just tired. And as soon as I start dancing, it just goes away. Dance for me has been therapeutic. So, and I love what you're doing and putting this platform out there, because it really is. So I would say the power of dance is not just the movement. Watching it is powerful because it's therapeutic and it moves you. But actually dancing has been very therapeutic, and that is powerful because it releases endorphin. It's not even on a mental health level in your body, on a physiological level or whatever you call it. It changes your body, serotonin and dopamine and all that, the feel good hormones. Yes. It is really therapeutic, and that is the power of dance, in my opinion.
I want to emphasize how dance can make us rewire the way we think of our minds. Yeah. A lot of us are struggling with mental health issues, and I have found that when I dance and I really, really get into that music and I see what I'm capable of creating, my mind isn't so bad after all.
It is.
And I feel like it can be a powerful tool to help people rewire their minds, to get hope again, to believe in themselves, to gain confidence. I think the ultimate confidence is if someone can dance.
Yeah, I think so.
Like in front of people.
It is. In front of people, yes.
Like at the club or, because it's such a vulnerable sport.
It is.
You have to be so vulnerable. And, so I want to thank you so much for letting me interview you and for being my first guest and just for being in my life. I mean, you're such a role model. And like I said, she is the living embodiment of zero excuses and living within your passions, working hard, being wise. I mean, there's just so much. Your mom did an amazing job, man.
Oh, thank you. I'll let her know.
Okay, let's one more question. What's the best advice your mom gave you? What's that principle that she instilled in you?
You know, there's two things that my mom said in my lifetime that I remember. One is, I always say this, no cats are harmed, in this quote. She always said there's always more than one way to skin a cat. So anytime I feel like I'm up against the wall, I remember those words like, okay, if this didn't work, there's another way that I can make it work. So I always say that there's always more than one way to skin a cat. And then another thing my mom says is that when you're dealing with people, she's like, can people see you when you're here or when you're here? You know, when people are so close in your face, you can't get the visual. She says, sometimes know when it's time to pull back and know when it's time to move forward. And those are two things that my mom has said that just really resonates with me. And my mom taught me that the power of your words as a parent. My mom used to always just affirm me. She used to always just say positive things to me. You're gonna be this. You're gonna be this. You're meant to be this. And I really believe, to this day, I think I feel like I'm supposed to be wealthy and a superstar because my mom would always tell me those things. Wow. So it's just ingrained in my brain. I don't know any other way to think. So my mom taught me how powerful being a mother is and how powerful your words are that you say to your kids. Wow. You really are powerful.
I just have to clap. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your amazing testimony and wisdom and empowerment. I know this is going to empower so many people. It goes across the board. Mothers, entrepreneurs, dancers, women, teachers. I mean, she does it all.
Get out, teachers.
Yes. Okay, y'all. So that is it for today. And I will see you guys in the next one.
Thank you.